As you know, today we are living in a very complex world. Every day we have more problems on, for example, supply chain issue because of sickness, flu that are going global. We are also under a lot of inflation pressures. We are facing geopolitical tensions. And on top of that, everybody is asking us to deliver more and more sustainability solutions, either on environment, social, or governance. So yes, definitely, and I believe it was the case for quite a while already, we're not only delivering savings or cutting costs, but we are delivering more value for the company. So, but with all this complexity, of course, it forces us to really rethink which kind of data we need to have, how we're going to be handling it well with technology, and who in the company will be helping us to handle that data complexity through this technology. So yes, so in Country Food, we are looking at this very carefully. And that's the reason why we've this year included this as a KPI for both all our departments, but also all our people. They have now a KPI that is to deliver everything with data management, visualization, and analysis. You know, we need to help the whole company because procurement is really at the center of everything. Now, what I always tell people is you cannot help people around you if you don't know yourself well. And I strongly believe that, therefore, knowing your data, knowing what the company is spending, where and how, is one of the most important part of our business. So 5 years ago, I used to work in a big multinational company that had acquired along the years a lot of different companies and entities. They were at that time using 42 ERPs globally. You can imagine that every time we had to bring up a full spend analysis in order to leverage and understand the spending, it was taking us close to 3 weeks in order to collect the information from each and every ERP, then consolidate it in a tool like either BI or Excel, and then after that come up with that analysis to the top management. You can imagine that by that time, 1 month later, the data was already expired for the top management. Another more recent example that I was recently working on a full supply chain problem where actually we were only using one ERP. But what we realized is that between all the different functions of the company, everybody was using a different set of data with more or less precision. Let me explain it a bit more in details. For example, integrated business planning was using one set of data with inventory levels and demand needs. That would allow them to tell purchasing what to buy and how and when. Purchasing based on that would place the order with a potential date where we would like to receive the product. But this date was 3 months later. You can imagine that between the production, the shipping, all the different problems on the supply chain, that date was not more precise than plus minus 3 weeks. So based on that, the whole supply chain was completely blind for 3 months on what was happening with this potential incoming product and what to do with it. What we found out is that at some time, logistics realized 2 days in advance that 20 containers were arriving on the same shipment 2 days later. So there was no space in the inventory to receive such a big amount of container. There was also not enough truck to unload all these containers fast enough. So creating potentially a lot of detention and demurrage in the port. That's one. The second big issue that we had is that finance didn't have enough time in 2 days to collect the payment and transfer the Singapore dollar into US dollar within that time, and therefore creating additional delay. Finally, for all the direct shipment to the client, sales didn't have that information on hand. So what we did was to introduce another tool that would collect all this data throughout the whole ERP. Introduce it is what I call a data lake, that everybody, each function can enrich as we go, and all the function can also have access to it, therefore making the whole supply chain smarter and faster to take decisions. Based on that, what we could potentially do, or what we have done actually, was to call the supplier in advance, ask them to delay some shipments, so not all the shipment would arrive at the same time. Sell more inventory in advance, so we would make some space and we would not be over-inventorizing. Finally, we would have the information faster, so we could get all the money ready on time. So more or less, we solve all the problem by getting this kind of innovation. So that's where I'm saying that having one set of data is the most important, and having it very precise and updated by everybody is key to the business to be smarter and faster. We talked about the fact that it's super important to have these data available. As soon as you have this data available, you can plug in all the new tools using AI for analysis. So I have few examples already that we're using. The first one is pen analysis. I've been working a lot with Thinking Machine. Thinking Machine is an AI tool that is taking very complex spending like telco spending and analyzing all the contracts together with the invoices to match the potential savings that have not been delivered by giving the wrong invoicing on what had been used. So more or less what happened for that is that you load all your contract, the AI is by itself reading the contract, analyzing all the split of the different price per use, so from which country to which country, within your plan or outside your plan. Then based on that, you also load all your invoices that are analyzed the same way, and straight away the AI gives you how much saving you can claim to the company if it was not well invoiced. So that's one. The one we use a lot in country food is supply risk management, supply chain risk management. So for that we use Everstream. Everstream is a very useful tool that is tracking all over the world everything that's happening. So from weather, for example, hurricane, storm, more than usual cold or warm weather, flooding. They also track any supply chain issue like jam on a certain road, strike in the port, any disruption on the way because of war or this kind of thing. They also track tariff, for example. So in one hand, you have all these risks that are tracked, and in the other hand, what we've done was to load all our supply chain detail into the tool. For example, the tool knows that we have one farm in Brazil at this location. Then the next step is the processing plant. The next step is the warehouse. And then after that, we move on the road, we go to the port. From the port, we ship, etc., etc. So you track your whole supply chain together with all these risks. And every time there is something that can create potential problem, then it's raised to us. So we've used that several times in the past 1 year. One example was with a big flooding that happened in Brazil last year. We knew in advance that it was coming, and instead of waiting for the supplier to tell us that they were impacted, we called them in advance and we said, we know that you're getting flooding close to your farm and processing plant. What is the impact? Are the containers that we've ordered going to be stuck or impacted, or are you still okay? How are you going to supply what we ordered? So that was one of the examples. The last one that we used also was for the bird flu. That was 2 or 3 months ago. The bird flu started to appear in Brazil, and we knew it in advance. We called them. We actually knew in advance that 2 or 3 days after, all the region would be banning the chicken from Brazil. So by knowing that in advance, we could influence the whole market. We could also position ourselves very well to avoid any impact to our price and the way for us to sell our inventory. The last example I can think about, and that we're going to implement very soon in Country Food and SATS, is contract management. So not only you can load all your contract and ask the AI to analyze everything and to check what are the different clauses that are missing, what are the clauses that are dangerous, like committed volume, like also penalties that you could potentially have, but also so you can get AI helping you from the beginning, adding or removing clauses as you negotiate with the supplier. So that's something that is on the making in SATS. And that's how we are more and more adopting AI and going full blast with AI. That's right. So you can have very nice tools, but if the organization doesn't know how to use them, then you're not going to get anything out of them. And that's very right. So this year we're putting a lot of emphasis on that, with the same team. So one of them, so I said before that we have included that in the KPI of each department, but also each person to train themselves on AI, to train themselves on all these intelligent tools. But in addition, we are making it a point that everybody would need to use them. So for example, for all our reviews, we are now making it a point that we use Power BI with live data during our meetings. So which means that given that we have the live data, questions can come and go very fast, and we can go into the details and double check what we really spend, how we spend it, and whether it makes sense to work on it or to change anything behind it. That's one thing. The second thing is because we are showing all these details to the whole supply chain and organization, we're able to see what's going on in finance, what's going on in logistics, what's going on in manufacturing. And therefore, we're also able to analyze all these different costs and include them in simulations that we could do in order to change the actual situation. So for example, at this stage, I know the exact cost breakdown of all my logistics. I know how much it's going to cost me to bring a container to Singapore, how much it costs me to bring it to my warehouse, how much in the warehouse, and how much for my distribution. So based on that, I can think about other ways to source this product from and then to manage it within Singapore. First, we are helping them hand in hand to present in front of everybody and to use the tools. So that's one thing that definitely will be super helpful, because then they learn together with the whole team. Another thing I've used a lot is that regularly I take some interns, SMU, NUS, NTUs. And so all this new generation is very versatile in using AI tool or Power BI or all this kind of elaborated data analysis tool. And normally what I try to do is to partner them with some of my old folks. So like this, the person that has experience help guide where we need to do the analysis, then the younger intern or new recruit helps in using the tools to make it happen. So that's one thing. The second thing that we are looking at is the possibility to have AI tools that can be installed in the PC of the different people to learn about their process. And they can learn on multi software process. For example, you use Word, email, Excel, or Power BI, and on top of that, you use your ERP. The system is just able, or the AI tool is able to just record everything you've done everywhere. And as it records everything, it creates the SOP. With the SOP that can be reviewed by someone before any next steps, then we can organize some trainings. And then with these trainings, we can also organize some additional testing. So if we want to train and certify someone on the new processes, we can. So that's one of the next upcoming AI tools that we're going to have also used in SATS. The world is becoming faster and faster. The role of getting the data as early as possible and ahead of everybody is key. What you see is that with AI, you can go 10 to even more faster than with someone that is just using the standard processes. I mean, recently I was just using ChatGPT and I got a full industry analysis of a subject within minutes, when it used to take me 3 weeks to a few months to get the same kind of detailed analysis. So I strongly believe that people would have to surf the wave or they would be crushed by the wave, definitely. So I think we should all really start working with AI and take all the value out of it. What my big thing is that it's not going to be replacing our employees. It's going to help our employees go the next step and go much faster with more data, smarter decision, and faster decision. That's how it's going to be.